Kendall, go ahead and go to the next one.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Our next question comes from Tilo. They ask, what can be done to reverse the dismantling of USAID?
All right, so this is a great question, but let me give a quick overview for everyone that may not really understand the importance of USAID, as well as really getting some clarity on the amount of money that USAID takes up. So what they've decided to do is they've decided to pit Americans against USAID because it's just like, oh, there's so much money and it's leaving the country and we need the money in our communities. And I'm not saying that that's not a very real thing, that we need the money in our communities. In fact, unfortunately, with this Republican CR, there was a lot of money that was supposed to come to our district that now most likely will go into Elon's pockets. But USAID, overall, if we look at our entire budget, even though I know they throw out big numbers that are bigger than what we have in our own individual bank accounts, USAID accounts for less than 1% of our entire budget. So right now, they're trying to get people mad and irate about less than 1% so that they don't have to talk about the other 99.5%, right? So that's number one. Number two, we go on congressional delegation trips. I usually do not post them because I don't think that most people really understand that part of our jobs is to be international diplomats. And so, you know, one of the reasons that I was very concerned about this administration coming in is because of conversations that I've been able to have with emirs, prime ministers, presidents of other countries as I have traveled the world and had conversations about what it was like to deal with the previous administration with them. So that's that part. The other part of it is that when we go, we're usually checking in on the programs that the United States is funding, whether these are programs to eradicate things such as HIV and AIDS. So as we know, or if we think back, if you're old enough, in the 90s, you know, it was number one, absolutely a death sentence if you were diagnosed, and people were just so sick, right? And so we had to work on the medicine and really get it up to snuff. And they're still working on medicine, hopefully, even though, as I already talked about, the NIH funds, that would have been another bucket that we would have had specifically designated for HIV and AIDS research. But when we start to talk about things like global pandemics, right, when we talk about COVID-19, or when we even talk about HIV AIDS, it was a global problem and disaster. And so they found that with sex education, that was helping to kind of help out with people not getting as sick just by putting sex ed in, even though I know that's something right now that many Republicans are trying to remove from schools, but it helped not only with teen pregnancy, but it also helped with dismantling some of the transfer of various diseases. But also when you're looking at things like this that can spread so rapidly throughout the world, what we've done is we've been able to help out in underdeveloped countries to make sure that they have access to things such as condoms, to make sure that they have access to the sex education, make sure that they have access to the medications that even if they are diagnosed with HIV, that it does not end up becoming full-blown AIDS, making sure that they're keeping their counts down and things like that. So I had an opportunity last year to go into a couple of different countries in Africa and see how they are creating programs for young girls so that they are more than kind of just out there with nothing to do, so to speak. And so we were able to see the different skills that they're teaching them. I was able to buy products from them, things that they made, different crafts. I bought a purse and all kinds of random things. And so they're helping them to become their own entrepreneurs. And they're really making sure that they can imagine and see themselves as something other than a possession of a man, because some of this stuff is kind of cultural. So there was cultural things that we've been fighting against consistently in various countries as well. And really what we do is we try to show people that freedom and democracy is the way and that there are opportunities for everyone. And so by doing that, we keep down the hostilities, not only abroad, but hostilities towards us. And we also end up building like a real rapport with so many countries around the world. And right now, the fear has been, and what we consistently had conversations about, was China. And that China is like, if you just think of some gangsters, it's like, you know what, you're desperate for money, you're desperate for whatever it is, and you go to the gangster or the loan shark, right? And you go and get it from them, and then you're basically going to owe everything to them, right? And so we've been competing with China because what China ends up doing is kind of influencing other portions of the world to hate us. So for less than 1% of our budget, it helps to keep us safe while also doing some good. That is what it is about. So now that I've gone on that long explanation of it, but I thought it was really important because I know a lot of people don't fully understand it. Today, a federal judge ordered the reinstatement of USAID functions and placed a preliminary injunction on DOGE to stop further attempts to dismantle the agency. The court also demanded that DOGE reinstate access to email, payments, security notifications, and other electronic systems, including restoring deleted emails for current USAID employees. As I have said since January, and now the federal courts agree, Trump and Elon Musk violated the Constitution when it effectively shuttered the agency. I'll continue working with my colleagues in Congress to fight back against this administration's attempt to illegally dismantle independent federal agencies. There are still ongoing court cases, and more will come as we fight to reverse the dismantling of USAID. And the reason that I say that it's illegal is because the existence of USAID, it only exists because of it was created through Congress. And so it can only be shut down and dismantled through Congress. And so I can't say that they won't have the votes to do that. They may, because they control every lever, but they're going to have to go through the process of fully dismantling USAID if that is what they're going to do. So thank you so much for the question. I really do appreciate it.